Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Proficient's and Microsoft's Power Platform virtual event for Copilot Studio. This is the second event of our year-long series on Power Platform. Very excited that you're all here and attending, and take a special moment to wish everybody a happy holidays to you and your family. I appreciate you all taking time to spend it with us. Today's session will cover the agenda. Today we'll do a Perficient introduction. We'll talk about AI trends. We'll walk you through a Copilot overview, and we'll talk about some design considerations and even get into the solution in a demo. And then we'll have a Q&A at the end. At the end, we ask you and invite you to share your business challenges and join our Power Platform community, something we're very excited about. Our speakers today, we have two. We're very blessed and thankful for my colleagues for joining us for this special event. One is Brian Flanagan. Brian is our generative AI digital strategist here at Perficient, and Eric Schmidt. Eric is our business apps director here at Perficient. He'll be leading the demonstration. Before we get started, just a quick overview on Perficient. Perficient is a global organization with 40 locations, close to $1 billion in revenue. We're founded in 1997, went public in 1999, close to 8,000 colleagues strong. Something we're very proud of is a repeat business rate of 95%. And if you want to learn more about Perficient, you can find us on NASDAQ under the symbol PRFT. We at Perficient are very proud and thankful for our partnership with Microsoft, and thankful for our partners in co-sponsoring this event. So thank you to all our Microsoft friends and former colleagues. A brief overview about Perficient. We have a 20-year practice with Microsoft, so close to 2,000 plus enterprise customers that we deployed on the Microsoft platform, and we've been proud to bring 10 million users to the migrated cloud of Azure. We at Perficient are recognized experts in Microsoft 365, Azure, Dynamics, and the Power Platform, and you'll see a number of awards we're very proud of. And with that, I'll kick it to our first speaker, Brian Flanagan.
All right, thank you, Brian. From Brian to Brian. I'm going to give you guys some context on generative AI. It's a large part of what Eric's going to demo as part of the Copilot Studio, the integration of generative AI. So it's good to level set really the importance here. If you want to move forward, generative AI has a lot of different capabilities, right? From large language models to image generation models, you have audio models, and then you have specialized code development models as well. Really, we classify generative AI as the ability to create, so creating new content, whether that's images or video or code, ability to create insights, and then also to provide generative information like synthetic data as well. So a lot of different use cases for generative AI, but why it's important is that it's really at the forefront of everybody's mind. Yeah, you can move forward there. When you think about when ChatGPT launched, they got to 1 million users within 5 days. Now they're at 200 million users. Bing with Copilot is at 150 million users. So this is an everyday experience for many, many different users, when it changes the way that they expect to consume information. How do they browse sites? How do they look at different experiences? And it shifted the mindset away from chatbots that provide poor experiences to these great interactions they're having today. So it's really important for organizations to embrace generative solutions in order to provide the experience that customers are looking for. If you move forward, one of the key things is that from a productivity perspective, generative AI has a lot of implications. The Harvard Business School produced a study where they looked at knowledge workers. And they asked them to do a number of tasks. And these were things like reviewing market reports and providing analysis, creating taglines, and then also preparing a list of questions to ask clients. And they saw that those that used AI were demonstrating a big lift in quality improvement across these 18 tasks versus the group that didn't use AI. So a definite lift in productivity and quality. And if you go to the next transition here, you'll see that there's a big performance improver for all users of AI, but the bottom half of participants saw a bigger increase, right? They were helped more because they didn't have some of the insights in the background, but all users were able to lift and increase their results and scores on tasks. Okay. And you can see how workers are adapting. This is an example. Some people have found out that, hey, I can create an email from one single bullet point, right? And I can generate that and send out that email, pretend I wrote it. But then somebody on the other side might be taking that long email and distilling it down to a single bullet point. So you get into this world where you have AIs creating content for AI, and it's an interesting experience. Like, how do you transition that information and put some more importance on humans to be critical thinkers and take the information that they can easily get and digest it and apply it to new solutions. If you move forward, one of the key things that's easy to demonstrate through a visual model is the pace of change, right? So this is an example from Midjourney, when Midjourney launched on March of 2022. This was version 1, and the prompt is something simple like woman with red hair standing in front of the Statue of Liberty with sunglasses on. And then the next version of Midjourney 2 was in April. Not huge lift in quality there, but then you go to Midjourney 3, and you're starting to see some improvements. You get to Midjourney 4, there's a big lift here and huge change. Now you're getting some more realistic imagery here. And when you get to 5, now you're approaching photorealistic quality, getting reflection in her glasses. And this change happened over the course of 1 year. And so we're seeing this change across large language models, across video generation, which is really following this path, audio generation as well. It's really hitting across all fronts. The next picture shows the last version, which is 5.2. So you can get a little more finer details there. This came out in July of this year. And then the one more click through, and we can show we can now animate these images with the tool like Runway. So you can add animation to that and bring these images to life. So just really this demonstrates how quickly things are changing. And, you're trying to think about when's the next time that the next big model is going to come out, but it's always evolving, right? So it's something to keep pace with, but not wait till that big, one model to rule them all comes out. You start applying this and iteratively improve your solutions over time. So if you go to the next slide, we wanted to kind of showcase, how this is evolving. And when we think about the Microsoft platform, it's really focused on building intelligent experiences. So the experiences that users have today are focused on what we call static modalities. So those are, I'm inserting text into a prompt. I might be uploading an image or a document, and I'm asking for information to get processed through that. But in the future, we're looking at more dynamic and ambient modalities. So having live video, being able to have a video feed and have the model actually observe what's happening within that video to provide feedback, guidance, commentary. One example that we like to demonstrate is like if you were cooking a meal, you could actually have a representation of a celebrity chef watching you cook the meal, giving you instructions, correcting what you're doing as you're cooking that meal, because it's all really ambient and built into that experience. From an instruction perspective, like today it's about prompts. Like I give you a prompt and I want this feedback from you. And in the future, it's really about goals and goal engineering. Here's the goal that I want, and let's leverage the models and the intelligence behind the experience to identify what are the prompts that I need to create to achieve that goal. What are the tasks that need to be done? What are the APIs we need to connect to? So we're going to see a shift from prompt engineering to goal engineering. The memory of today is really limited to that context window. So when you have an interaction with Copilot or Bing, it's keeping it within that that interaction window from that context, and it's not having persistent long-term memory. I think that's going to evolve as the windows become larger, integrate long mem technology in order to have that persistence, so that you can now get a model that understands your personal preferences and behavior and can make more predictions around some of the outputs that you're looking to achieve. From an integration perspective, today it's really about scripted connectivity. So you can connect the solutions to different either platforms, connecting to different APIs, connecting to other models, but you're largely scripting those. In the future, it's going to move to adaptive connectivity. So in adaptive connectivity, the models will understand where they should get information from and automatically go and achieve and use that agent. So there's a concept of agent of agents. You have an agent that's trying to achieve your goal. It'll connect to other agents to get the information it needs to help you achieve that goal. And then from a workflow perspective, a lot of things today are we'd say human-led, or as Harvard would classify them, they call them centaurs. So human and AI tasks are separated. It means you kind of are going through your workflow. You have something you need to leverage AI for. You get that feedback of information, and you're creating that image output, whatever that is, and then you continue on your tasks. In the future, we're moving more towards hybrid experiences, which they would call cyborgs. So that means humans and AI are integrated throughout the workflow. So it's not just a handoff, it is working in conjunction throughout that process. And finally, we see, going from what are largely informational interactions, where I'm getting an output, and I'm going to get an image, or I might get some analysis, but we're not really, in a lot of cases, there are some simple transactions that are out there, but as we see this evolving, we're going to get to more transactional complex interactions that are there to support a goal. So an example of that might be if you wanted to conduct a research study, we can develop a virtual agent to be able to not only create your survey, identify the participants, but also recruit participants, through a third-party platform like user interviews, and then actually run that survey and do all of that analysis, pay for the survey and pay the participants for their participation, all through that platform, entirely transactional, and give you a result of here's the survey results that I created, and that could be automated and done, within a couple days. So we think that transformation is going to happen along with these other changes as we look to evolve intelligent experiences. And this is really one of the ways that Microsoft is supporting the evolution with generative AI. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Eric to kind of go through the platform.
All right. So overall, today we're going to spend a lot of time talking about Copilot Studio. So Copilot Studio, we consider that part of the Microsoft Power Platform. A couple weeks ago, there was a tool called Power Virtual Agents, which was updated and rebranded as a Copilot Studio. So if you've seen Power Virtual Agents in the past, today's demonstration will be familiar to you. So in terms of the Microsoft portfolio for AI, we have Microsoft Copilot, which Microsoft refers to the generative AI implementation in all of their products as Copilot. We have tools for business users in the Power Platform. The Copilot Studio will allow business users to create their own Copilot or extend the other Copilots. For professional developers and data scientists, we of course have AI services in Azure. So today's conversation will focus on Copilot Studio. So again, there's a Copilot or a generative AI implementation in just about every Microsoft product. So some of them have rolled out recently, some of them are in preview. So of course, this is a big initiative on the Microsoft front here. There's Copilot built into the various line of business applications in Dynamics. There is developer productivity tools built into the Power Platform. Today, we're actually going to demonstrate one such tool in Power Automate. We're going to basically use natural language to describe a process that we're going to create, and then it's going to basically build it for us. There's a Copilot being built into Windows. And sort of the big cheese here is the Copilot for Microsoft 365, which is going to help to surface information from your M365 tenant. There's a Copilot security and there's a wildly successful Copilot for GitHub that's currently in use by over a million developers and 20,000 organizations. So in terms of the use of Copilot, what we're seeing is as our internal customers get used to using Copilot, they're becoming more and more used to using the tool, used to the efficiency gains that these tools are providing. In terms of the Copilot for GitHub, you have developers who, in the interview process are asking, do you use Copilot for GitHub? And if you don't, maybe the developer doesn't want to work with you. So as these tools get a little bit more entrenched, they're really becoming part of our daily work life. So Copilot Studio is going to be the main product we talk about today. So in the demonstration here, we're going to quickly build our own Copilot. So more about that coming up here. In addition to building our own custom Copilot, we can extend those Copilot experiences like the Copilot for Microsoft 365 that we talked about on the last screen. So in the context of Copilot for Microsoft 365, we'll be able to use this tool to basically surface a line of business data in that tool. So out of the box, Copilot for Microsoft 365, it will surface information from things like Teams, SharePoint, the different Microsoft 365 products. But if I want to extend that to bring in data from other systems, say SAP or any of my HR systems, we can build what we call plugins to surface data there. So we'll talk about that briefly in today's session. Copilot Studio is part of the Power Platform. There is some, consumption licensing, but this tool is free if you have purchased Microsoft 365, that Copilot. So as we discuss custom Copilots, the opportunity to create a custom Copilot are varied, right? So these are some examples here on use cases in different industries. So in the travel industry, we have a use case here to manage bookings, professional services, support leads generation and get a quote, government, get childcare assistance, retail, having somebody make an exchange, healthcare, submitting health insurance claims. So right now there's a lot of updates going on in various companies' customer services departments. Again, we have a new generation of technology for bots. Some of the technology we're going to demonstrate here coming up are, a generational improvement versus what we had a couple years ago. There's also seems to be a lot of people creating bots for their .com websites. So we're talking about not only use cases for internal use, but also use cases for external use. Some more use cases here that sort of apply to everybody. IT bots that optimize employee troubleshooting. I want to, reset my password, or I want to refresh refresh my laptop. Various finance and HR use cases, as well as sales and marketing use cases. All right. So in the demonstrations today, we're again going to build our own Copilot. So we're going to review the web interface here. So we're going to go to an interface in the Power Apps portal to create a Copilot here. And then we're going to chat over several different web sources using generative AI. So in the Copilot context, the technology we're going to use is called Generative Answers. So we're going to point it at basically a SharePoint site and a couple external websites. And we're going to chat on the data there. So the generative answers, there's not too much we need to do there. It will, work against the data. But sometimes when we're creating a bot, we need to create specific topics or control the conversation. So we're going to supplement the generative AI technology with something a little bit more manual and a bit more of a structured conversation. So in this product, we call that topics. After that, we're going to take a look at plugins. So with plugins, we can sort of create an inventory of actions. So we can share different actions between different bots, and we can bring in third-party services, third-party APIs, and we can expose them to our Copilot developers. So we'll spend a little bit of time talking on that. And after we've built the bot, the product allows us to publish to various channels with just a click. So if it's an internal bot, we can publish the bot to Teams. If it's an external bot, we can embed the bot via iframe on our website. There's also support for one-click publishing for places like Facebook, Telegram, etc. So it's very easy to publish a Copilot. After the bot's published, we want to make sure that the bot is successful and that it's answering our customers' conversations. So there is built-in analytics into the product, so we can see how often it's used, and we can also study the success of the bot if somebody's asking a question and they sort of give up. We can review where the bot's sort of falling short in some of the analytics. If there's use cases where we need to extend the behavior of the bot, or if we have existing custom models that we've created in Azure AI Studio, it's very simple for us to integrate that into Copilot Studio. So moving towards the demo here, we're going to create a bot basically to answer questions to support us in doing our taxes, right? So that's a scenario we can unfortunately all understand. So the bot's going to incorporate data from public websites, a SharePoint site, and we'll talk briefly through how we can have it chat off of individual files. So technically, this use case is going to be similar to when we create a bot or a Copilot for public websites, customer service scenarios, knowledge management scenarios, and intranets. So as we're going through here, you can think of some of your scenarios that you may have. I'm just going to flip over to the browser here. All right, so we're in the Power Apps portal, make.powerapps.com. And there's an item on the left here in the navigation called chatbots. So we've selected that item, and we're just going to go through and quickly create a custom Copilot. So here we can select the Copilot name, and here we can boost our conversations with generative answers. So the generative AI implementation is front and center. So to get started here, all we really have to do is enter a URL. We're going to point it at our irs.gov, and we're going to go ahead and create the bot. So this is going to spin for a moment here. So while it's spinning, I'm just going to go to one that we've created in the past. But again, this will spin for a moment here. So when we've created that bot and we go to the generative AI section here, it's pointed at the RS website. And we can also add additional websites or SharePoint sites, or we can add in this interface custom files here that we'd like the bot to chat against, essentially. So we've added the IRS website here. We've also added the HR block tax center here. And we've added a SharePoint site here that, for demonstration purposes, has some ebooks, basically, in here that has information about taxes. So that's basically all we did. We entered in a couple URLs here, and now we're ready to ask it some questions. So the first question that we'll ask the bot, and we can do so in this dialog here on the left. So as we're building the bot, we basically test it right in the studio. So we're going to ask it, what is the difference between an employee and a contractor? Well, we'll do this test on the spot we just spun up. So we're asking what is the difference between an employee and a contractor, and it's telling us the main difference between an employee and contractor lies in the relationship. An employee is generally someone who performs the services for the business under the control and direction of the employer. And then it has some guidance here that helps us to determine whether a worker is an employee or a contractor. And then it tells us why it's important, right? So it's written a pretty nice answer to my question here. And then here it's listing references. So it's letting me know the various files or web pages where we've generated this information from. And if we'd like to basically do a deep dive into that information, we can just go ahead and click on it, and it brings us to the page in question that we can review in further detail. So the bot keeps context, so we can ask it some questions here to sort of drill down into more information, just like how we'd be talking to a person. So now we're going to ask, what are the consequences of treating an employee as an independent contractor? So again, it's going to give us a pretty good answer here on what the penalties basically would be for misclassifying workers as an independent contractor. So again, we're going a little bit deeper into the conversation. So now we're going to ask it something fairly particular. So we're going to ask, is my graphic artist an employee or an independent contractor? And I'm letting the bot know that I provide them with health insurance. So again, it's giving us an opinion on whether or not the graphic artist is considered an employee or an independent contractor. It's saying that providing health insurance to a worker does not automatically determine their classification. It's important to consider the overall factors. And it's asking me to consult a legal professional or tax advisor to determine the proper classification for your specific situation. So again, a pretty cool implementation of the technology here. And to get it to work to this detail, we just basically pasted in that website to the IRS URL. So the cost of entry here is very low. So if people don't have if you want to create a bot, or a Copilot for your website, it's super easy to do so. So going a little bit further into the tool here, we're going to talk about the creation of a custom topic. So topics, you'll recall from earlier in the conversation, if we want to have a conversation, if we want to sort of control the conversation, if we want to have a conversation about a specific topic, or if we want to do something like gather information, we're able to do that in a topic. So we talked about how generative AI is being built into the different Microsoft tools, including the Power Platform. One of the items that's pretty neat is that we can create a topic here based off of a description. So again, this is a generative AI implementation in the product. So we are going to spin up a topic to gather information about a W-2. So in this section here, we're just going to type in natural language what it is we want this topic to do, or what do we want this conversation to be about. So as we paste this in, we're going to create a topic to ask the user for their social security number, their EIN, employer information, wages, etc. So we're asking them information that would be used to basically generate a W-2 form. So we can go ahead and create a topic based off this description. And what this is going to do is it's going to basically generate the design for me. Here we see the results of the generation. So again, as we scroll down here, this is what we asked. We asked it to generate. And these are the different questions that they generated based off my description. And if I go ahead and close this, I can review those. So the trigger, this is how the conversation basically gets to this point. So in the bot, if we type in W2 form, the logic is going to bring it to this topic. And then it's automatically generated a series of questions based off of that description. So again, this saved me a lot of data entry, and it's sort of like code generation. So we're getting all this data from the user. What are we going to do with it? Maybe we're going to insert it to a database or submit it to a web service. So what are some of the things we can do to basically support that? So from here, we can call a Power Automate flow and interact with some of the power of that tool. So now we've gone to Power Automate, and we have a Power Automate we have spun up in the past to insert tax information. So we're going to go ahead and edit this. So again, this is another low-code tool that allows us to quickly create business logic. We've previously typed in some parameters here. So the Power Automate flow, it's expecting information to be passed to it from the Copilot. So we're going to have this information here in basically variables in the Power Automate canvas. So what are we going to do with some of this information? Well, we can make use of many of the different connectors in Power Automate. So there's over 1,000 connectors to various third-party systems that allows us to do integrations without writing any code. So the database in the Power Platform is the Dataverse. We can write to that, for example. We can also connect to a large number of databases right through the UI here, again, without writing any code. So let's fast forward here. We've done the integration here, and we want to integrate that back into our bot. To do so, we're going to go back into Copilot Studio here. We're going to call an action, and we're going to integrate that Power Automate flow right in the tool here, and then we're simply going to pass it parameters from the conversation. So we can do some really powerful stuff here without writing any code. So that was a demonstration on a topic. Also included in here is the concept of a plugin. So a plugin is sort of similar to a topic, but it's a little bit of a more simple concept. So as we create some of these plugins, we can share them between our different copilots. So essentially, we can have a library of copilots that you can have, a library of plugins that you can have in your environment. In this example here, where we've integrated the insert tax information Power Automate flow, but we can also consume endpoints here from your API calls or custom GPT implementations. So again, these are shared, and they are basically single calls. So how this works is you have this description section here, and depending on what you put in here, this is how it gets routed, so we don't have that concept of a trigger. So if I'm creating a plugin for W2 information, then I'd write a description in here to describe what this plugin does. So this plugin will help you, generate a W2. And then in chat, if the user says, I want to generate a W2, Then there's AI in this tool that will automatically route them to the topic. So it's some pretty cool technology. This is currently in preview, recently released. But we can basically create a library of actions that have, different backends. So it's a pretty neat technology.
Hey, Eric, there
Yep.
is a clarifying question in the chat. Behind the scenes, does Copilot use Power Apps and Power Automate framework for provisioning the UI when you show the topic?
So yes, I believe so. So this used to be called Power Virtual Agent. So it's not technically Power Apps. So it's its own UI that it generates. This is a specific product, so it's not generating a Power App for you to customize. It's generating this interface that we've been interacting with. And then the Power Automate items, they are provisioned from the tool. So you can see those in the Power Automate portal. There's also the concept of a Power Platform solution in Copilot Studio. So the custom Copilot, your Dataverse tables, as well as the Power Automate flows can be contained in that solution, and they can be deployed through your application lifecycle. So we have our analytics here. So these aren't rendering right now, but again, analytics are built into the tool. We can review how our bot is doing and iterate on it. So if the bot isn't performing well on a certain question in generative AI, then we can create a topic to sort of override the generative AI capability, and we can control that manually. Publishing is as easy as one click here. So again, we can publish that to Teams or various web properties. So going back to the PowerPoint here.
Hey, Eric, there's actually one more question.
Sure.
Are there any prerequisites for the environment to be able to use Copilot or be ready to use Copilot? And then how is the cost model applicable?
So the cost model is you need a license for your tenant, I believe, and then this is a consumption model. So it's based, I believe, off the number of messages. So if the bot is successful, you'll end up paying a little bit more. If it's not successful, you don't pay as much. If you have Microsoft Copilot for Microsoft 365, this is sort of baked into that license. So again, if there's any questions specifically in your scenario, we can help to answer that as well as your Microsoft account team. So what's going on sort of under the hood when we did that demonstration here. So again, the user is entering a prompt. The technology is filtering out any malicious content, and it's also adding context, of the person, where are they, etc. And then what's actually happening is that was executing a search using Bing. So Bing is helping initially for us to surface some content. We call that sort of grounding the query here. So we're getting some search results from Bing. So in your public website, it can see whatever Bing can see, and then that information is being passed to a custom GPT implementation where we're getting the response, and then it's sending a reply. So when we're interacting with SharePoint, something similar is happening, but it's not interacting with Bing. I believe it's interacting with the Office graph. So our generative answer responses are as good as our search results, right? So if our search results are garbage, then our generative answer isn't going to work that well. So we focused again on just out of the box Bing search. There's a tool called Bing Custom Search where you can build a complex index. So you can say, I want this page from this site, this page from this site, and this website, right? So we we can build a custom data set with that tool. We talked about SharePoint. We can also use information in OneDrive, and there's also the ability to sort of create a custom data set and pass that data set to the GPT model under generative answers and get a response. In terms of some ways that you can get started, these are some of the things that we do. I showed you a bot where we collected, confidential information, salary information, social security number. Is that a good idea? I don't know, right? We need some governance around how the product is used, what data we're going to gather, which one of those connectors, which connectors we're going to be able to use, right? What are some use cases we're going to use this technology for? Who do we allow to build their own custom copilots? How are we going to extend products like Microsoft Copilot for 365? So these are all some questions that we should think through prior to turning this on.
Great job, Eric. Great job, Brian. Thank you both. Thank you, team, for putting this all together. Maybe just some questions. I saw some in the chat. Maybe a couple popped up. I'll make sure we answer everybody's question before we wrap up.
Is it possible to connect Copilot with Microsoft Dataverse and use its info in Copilot responses?
Yes, that's pretty straightforward to do. What we would do is, again, have the custom Copilot topic. We would call it Power Automate Flow like we did in the demonstration, and then that would do a Dataverse query. So we can do that a couple ways, but that would be a good way to go about it. So we would say that's probably a common use case.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, this is the conclusion of our second session. Again, I think I mentioned earlier, we're really excited about building a community here for all of us. So 2024 is a big year. Our next session will be Tuesday, January 16th. We left the topic open because we wanted to see if there's some topics that are out there that you are all interested in learning more about. If you're interested in helping us shape those topics for future discussion, future sessions, please let us know. We also have a survey that we're going to send out afterward. Please respond to the surveys. Feedback is so important to us. And if you have any questions, also that's a vehicle for it as well. But we're real excited about this, and hopefully you'll share this amongst your friends and colleagues. Again, we want this to be interactive. We recognize time is precious. We're trying to make it informative and not salesy. And again, we want it to be a source of community. And then ultimately, the goal is to say is if there's more need for technical, questions, we're open to having office hours to say, gosh, we had enjoyed the session early in the week. Can I get more detail? Or could I even bring my Copilot examples or use cases to bear? And obviously, we've got the Microsoft team here that's here to support around pricing if you need help there. If you have your own Copilots initiatives, or if you need a strategy, sometimes it's just about how to stack rank or where am I going to get the greatest benefit, greatest reward? Where should I start? How do I begin? We're here to help there as well. But I want to thank you all for joining. Want to wish all of you a happy holidays and a happy new year. Like I said, we're very excited about building this community in 2024 and beyond. And again, thank you so much for joining and spending time with us today. Have a great one, everybody. Thank you.